This man, Master Farad Muhammad, pointed out to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad a dreadful looking plane in the sky, a half a mile by a half a mile, a human-built planet.
Earlier this week, the New York Times and Politico revealed the existence of a secret government program to investigate UFO sightings.
My gosh.
So the Pentagon has recently admitted that they've been monitoring and studying the reality of UFOs for quite some time.
Exists, but it turns out our government had a special team of UFO hunters that was trying to find out.
Are you surprised?
The Pentagon has been keeping track, or trying to, of the type of aircraft that don't take off and land from conventional airports.
There is so much more that they're still not telling the public, and it has to do with the relationship between these crafts and Black America's prophetic destiny. Well, we've always known that they've studied, monitored, and deliberately distorted the truth about these wheel-shaped planes that were introduced to the modern world by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Nation of Islam.
You want to know where they come from? You want to give the credit to somebody from outer space? Hell no.
This was in the early 1930s, before there was any talk of flying saucers or UFOs. Mr. Muhammad made it known that he was taught by God in person, who showed him this huge plane and its smaller wheel-like crafts, and that God in person gave him first-hand, detailed information about them. Because this truth was unheard of at the time, U.S. authorities mislabeled the Nation of Islam as a voodoo cult. But years later, in February of 1942, America witnessed perhaps its first major encounter with UFOs and what has now been termed the Battle of Los Angeles. During this historic encounter, a huge wheel-shaped craft and a few smaller ones were spotted off the coast of LA, alarming the U.S. Armed Forces, who attempted to intercept the oncoming objects. Unfamiliar with the composition and origin of these crafts, the Armed Forces fired over 1,400 rounds of heavy anti-aircraft artillery at the large object, only to find that it didn't budge. This incident left the public dismayed and U.S. intelligence in complete awe. Government research and investigations initially assumed that the author of these supreme objects was some foreign military like Japan or Germany, of whom America had conflicts. But it became clear that even those nations' capabilities couldn't match what America encountered over California. After more intense research concerning these strange crafts, all the evidence pointed to the only person with first-hand knowledge of these planes, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. 2 months after the military's UFO encounter, the FBI arrested, interrogated, and admitted to Mr. Muhammad that they encountered these wheels that he represents. And they locked him up for 5 years just to silence his divine message. This was the official beginning of the worldwide UFO cover-up, because it proves that Elijah Muhammad, in fact, met the Supreme Being with supreme technology. It's that same power that Minister Farrakhan represents, and he's challenged the world to disprove this reality. So government intelligence has been secretly studying this phenomena for years, under black budgets and different names like Reagan's Strategic Defense Initiative, otherwise known as Star Wars, or NASA's Space Fence program, or the Clintons' partnership with Lawrence Rockefeller's UFO research, and the Pentagon's Advanced Aviation Threat Identification program.
Those planes know everything about your military installations. You've caught them over all the military installations, not only here, but in England, in France, in Germany, in Russia.
Hundreds of military personnel from around the globe have admitted that these wheels have interfered with their nuclear weapon sites and have made their superior presence known since the 1940s.
Have over 100 witnesses indicate that craft of vastly superior capabilities have been monitoring the U.S. nuclear arms program since the 1940s, and on occasion, according to these ex-military personnel, have tampered with the weapons.
They've acknowledged this supreme reality ever since they arrested the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. But the prophecy showed that the ruling oppressors would not bow to God's power, even though it's clear that his power is far superior. Just like Pharaoh, Nebuchadnezzar, Herod, that's the mind of Satan, and that's what you see throughout America today. Again, this is the big secret of the UFO phenomena, which is why scientists and scholars refuse to take us to task on this critical point.
God is going to answer what I said. Listen. You'll see the wheels over the major cities.
Journalists, educators, and religious theologians avoid us because this truth would shatter the core of world religions and educational ideologies, which is why the topic remains purposely shrouded in mystery and kept above top secret. If our people knew that the God of these supreme objects has chosen them as his people, this would change the whole psyche of Black America and the world.